Babe,
Mm-hmm.
tell us your thoughts about the NASCAR Netflix show.
Okay, I wish you would have given me time to think about it. Okay, so I never really understood deeply the Joey Logano hate. I mean, you explained it to me, and I've heard things over the years in terms of him misbehaving, shall we say, during races.
Sure.
But watching the documentary really gave me further insight into how complex he is in terms of like why people hate him and why people have a complicated relationship with him, like drivers, fans in general. I find it really fascinating, but I also feel like you don't get to be two different people. Like I wouldn't be friends with someone like that if you're like one way at work and a different way like when we're out to dinner. Couldn't be me. To me, I'm like, you've shown me who you are and you're a terrible person. So that's my opinion on Joey Logano. I want to have grace for him, but I also feel like objectively, like if we really pare it back down, it's like he acts like a shithead at work and then he's like the nicest guy in town when he's not at work. It's fucking weird. Like if somebody acted like that who wasn't an athlete, it'd be fucking weird. So I'm not here for it.
What else did you enjoy from the NASCAR Netflix show?
Okay, so it made me love Daniel Suarez like a million times more. He might have stolen the number one spot of my favorite drivers. And before people come at me and say that, oh, Daniel Suarez isn't a very good driver, he doesn't win a lot, I actually do this thing where like I root for human beings. I know it's crazy because it's a sport and we want people to win, but like I root for Daniel Suarez. I'm rooting for his story. I think he has a really compelling story. I think he has a really compelling personality. I love him. I believe in him. I think he's a really good athlete, and I think that he's really good for the sport.
What else was your takeaways from the NASCAR Netflix show? There was a lot of coverage of the WAGs.
Oh, yeah. I did enjoy getting a sneak peek into the WAGs. I think it'd be really hard to be an athlete's partner in general. I think NASCAR is really, and racing in general is unique because the season is so long. Although baseball is probably worse because it's not only a really long season, but you're also having games like every day.
Oh, there's that. Okay. I see where you're going.
And I thought it was really interesting. Like one of the things that Dale Jr. said in the Netflix show is like, if you have a partner, a spouse, whatever, girlfriend, they might be a distraction. And they might actually distract you from doing really well. But if you have a spouse, partner, girlfriend, whatever, who knows the sport, they're probably an asset to you. And I thought that was really, really fascinating because I haven't seen other athletes talk about partners that way. But I also could see where Dale was coming from because, like, Daniel's wife, definitely an asset. Christopher Bell's wife, that's who I'm thinking of, right?
Morgan.
Definitely an asset. Like, there are definitely wives who know what they're doing and understand the sport deeply in a way that, you know, many people never will. So I thought that was really interesting. I do think an interesting thing about NASCAR, and I've thought this for a long time, is that a lot of them are, like, very white picket fencey. Like, they're all, like, married with 2.5 kids. And I find that fascinating because it's not the case in other motorsports. It's not the case in other sports.
Yeah.
A lot of NASCAR drivers get married like super young. And as people who got married super young, no judgment, it's just very unusual for athletes. I understand the playoffs now better than I ever have. And I'm sure they're going to change again in like 2 years and then I'll be back
probably next year. Yeah. So you didn't watch year one, but you did watch season 2. Yeah.
I watched parts of season 1 with you, but I was not like tuned in for all of it.
But you were tuned in for...
I thought this one was much more compelling. I thought they did a much better job storytelling. There's a lot of reality TV and who consumes a lot of media in general. I really would love the NASCAR show to do really well. And I think this season was much better and much more compelling than last season, but I still think there's room for improvement. I think part of the challenge is that NASCAR can be needlessly convoluted. It can be really complicated for outsiders. The point of the show, right, is to bring in new fans, hopefully, right? And maybe give insights to longtime fans. I think there's a little bit of a disconnect between new people they might be trying to reach. A lot of folks, I think, will start with the F1 series because it's more accessible and then maybe come to NASCAR and maybe stick around. So I would love to see more in-depth storylines about the drivers and their families. I would love to see like more background and deep dives into how the drivers got to where they are, because a lot of our friends who get into the sport because of him are like, how do you even become a NASCAR driver? I think there's a lot missing in terms of really understanding the sport. It's a lot of the same people and a lot of the same brand of people talking all over again. I'd love to see different voices in there shedding insight on the sport. I think this was probably more, sorry, you can exclude this if you want, but it was pretty much a documentary about a bunch of like 30 to 40 year old white men, 20 to 40 year old white men. And yes, they showed the WAGs, and yes, there were some other people involved. I would love to see more diverse voices telling the story, because speaking from my own perspective, if I wanted to watch a bunch of white men talk, I would just turn on the news, you know? I think that there was maybe something missing to reach other fans of the sport, or potential new fans.